Hello, today we are going to be talking about books. We're going to look at the different types of books. I am going to kind of explain where they come from, what they do, as well as provide a link to some opinions I have on each book, as well as when is best to use them. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. A lot of this is going to be just this page right here, but we'll talk about a few different things. The first thing we're going to talk about is what are books. And books are items within the game that you activate, and they take 31 days. And there's two types. There's types that after the 31 days, you get a permanent bonus from it. And there are passive ones where during the 31 days, you have some powerful benefit usually. It's pretty straightforward. We can go ahead and look at two books that I have right here. And I'm opening up my inventory to go to the books tab. And you can see that I have one here that allows for strength gym gains, 30% for 31 days. So as I read it for 31 days, I have the increased gym strength. I can coordinate this with a faction training to have steadfast increase it and really get some strength stats up. And then here you can see I have a book that once it's completed, it permanently provides a free merit reset. So these are the two different types of books you can get. Each one is unique, and each one can only be read once, except for in very special circumstances. As you can see, there's no check mark to use these because these books have already been read. So that's what the books are. That's how they work. Let's talk about how you obtain them. The main source of them is your monthly subscriber rewards. If you are subscribed to Torn and you have the blue star and you're paying monthly, then you can get 2 random items, and there's a good probability you will eventually get books. The chance is very low at first, but each month you do not get a book, it increases the chance that the next month you will get a book. Once you do get a book, the chance resets back down and it slowly builds up again. There are 2 other sources if you're not a subscriber. The more reliable one is mission credits. They float around 900 to about 1800 credits each. The mission credit system is very variable as for what books can show up at for what price. And each book is also priced a little differently. Weaker books are a little cheaper. Stronger books are a little more expensive. If you budget for about 2,000 mission credits, you can usually pick up any book that comes around, though. The final way to get them is through city finds. So when you go to your city map, there is a very, very small chance that it is one of the items that spawn here on your map. So this is TornTools that's kind of highlighting all my items, but you can see I just have random items around. There's a very, very small chance that a book can spawn here. During January, there's Awareness Week, and that improves chances slightly because of the increased awareness stat. But if you're ever wondering, that's what awareness does. It increases the chance that items appear on the map, and then you can pick them up. So that's all there is to that. The best way, of course, is subscriber rewards. Mission credits are a lot of work, but they're relatively predictable. And then city finds is extremely rare. You might find one every 3 to 4 years. A couple of things to note about books in general, though, is that there are a couple of items that are named books. Real books are untradeable. You cannot get them anywhere except for the 3 sources I just mentioned, and there's no other way to get them. But there are 2 items that are also called book. So if we type in book in the item market, we can see there's a book. This is a temporary that has been discontinued. And then there's the Book of Carols, which is a booster to reduce your current education by like 6 hours or something like that, that is a holiday item. So if anyone's trying to tell you they got books for you, it's these things. They're not the real books, the ones we're talking about in this video with the powerful rewards. And as for those powerful rewards, there's generally two types of books. There are books you can do anytime, and then there's books that need specific things in order to use them. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Let's talk about the anytime books. These are best to use whenever you don't need another book. Try to avoid reading the book or starting the book when a holiday event or a major Torn event is going on, like Eliminations or Halloween or something like that, because you might get an opportunity to collect a book before that event. Remember, those 30 days are locked in. You cannot cancel it, and you cannot read another book. So anytime books are really good to just kind of fill in the space whenever you're not using another book. But what are anytime books? Anytime books are the books where the benefit is not time sensitive and not based on any sort of statistics. So a few books that I would call anytime books are the books that raise your friend, enemy, and target list by 100. The awareness book, because awareness is additive, so you don't need to like wait till January to stack on awareness. It's just good anytime. It's going to have the same effect. The no drug addiction book I would also include in there. You can read more about that in my opinions, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But for the most part, most books are dependent on some kind of effect or event or something going on. So for my faction, Black Statues, what we do is we actually ask people about their training books in relation to Steadfast. The books, like I showed you the strength book earlier in the video, and I'll just jump right back to that for a second. It increases gym gains by 30%. Well, it wouldn't make sense for me to use this book right now, because if you look at our Steadfast, faction upgrade Steadfast, this is gym boost, and our strength is only at 10% when we could have it at about 17%, where we have speed right now. So if I were to use that book right now, I'm only getting that 10% from the faction Steadfast. It's better for me to wait until our faction is training strength and has it at least 15%. You can see you can only pick one here and pick one here. So we alternate every month what we're training, and most factions have some sort of system they use for this. For my faction, we ask people, we have training months throughout the year. We get people to let us know if they're going to use a book that is related to that Steadfast, so we know if we're going to enlist or not for Turn to Wars. So the types are the plus 20% and plus 30%. You saw that 30% strength just a moment ago. 20% is a generalized gym book. You can use that for whichever stat you need to. If you're running Balders or Hanks, then it's probably that Horde stat. If you're trying to be more balanced, then it's probably going to be the one that keeps falling back. The Happy books also fall into this. There's two of them. That's kind of the core training books that need to be planned around avoiding events, making sure your faction isn't going to be changing into war perks too much or things like that. There are other books. There's many books that are dependent on events. So Halloween is the very big event in Torn. If we go to my Torn.report, I'll just type that in real quick, and we look at the Halloween event, we can see that it makes billions each year. So we'll see, like in 2025, I made about 1.8 billion worth of items. 2024, almost 2 billion. So if you have books that are good for combat, things that increase the amount of energy you have, or energy sources like the double effect from cans or the plus 100 max energy that can let you use FHCs. Those books are extremely good to save for Halloween because you're going to increase how many hits you can do, which means how many treats, which how much money you make from it. And Halloween's about the only time that's going to pay itself off. And then you have the rest of the month to actually train on that book with its energy. There are also combat books, things that like passively improve a stat or give you some combat benefit. And those books are really good as secondary options for Halloween after you used all the energy ones, or if you don't have an energy one. They're also really good for things like elimination or for very big territory wars. Every few years there's big territory wars where the whole game gets into big fights and all that. And if something like that's going on, that's a good time to use those combat books. But I think that about covers everything about the books in general for general information. I just would like you to know that I do have a spreadsheet here that has every book, when I think is best to use it, and how good I think that book is, so you can make decisions on if you want to buy it if it shows up in the mission credits. Now, these are just my opinions, so they don't really matter. As you can see, there's a lot of 4s and 5s because books are generally good. But it's just my opinion, really. It doesn't matter. If you want to buy a book and it's up on the mission credits, ignore my rating. Just go for it. But if you're not sure, maybe my rating can influence you. The when to use is also my opinion. I try to explain why I think it. Like, here is the gem gain books, and I say when there's more than 15 steadfast, you can train it for a full month. That's the time to do it, or during stat boosting events like Torniversary. So that's kind of what you're expecting here. I'll have a link to this spreadsheet in the description of the video, and then I think that's all to talk about. So that's it. I'm trying to make these beginner guides a little faster, try to keep them under 15 minutes at least. So we achieved that today, and I really appreciate you watching. Hopefully this was edifying. Hopefully if you have a book, you now know when to use it, or have an idea to be a little more cautious to use it since you only get it once. Or maybe it's motivating you to do your mission so that you can have the credits to buy some books. In any case, I really appreciate you watching, and I would like to close out with a question. Is there any specific books you only realized you used at a bad time? What I mean by that is, have you already used a book and realized you shouldn't have used it? Because there's plenty of books in this list here that you would regret using at the wrong time. There's also books that you need to use early on, and if you don't get them, they get kind of disappointing. It's just a lot of fun. So I am interested if you have used a book at a bad time, and please tell me that below. Anyways, that's it for me. I appreciate you watching. I hope you have a good one.